We all know the iconic Monaco street circuit, right? A tight and twisty historic track which pushes the drivers to their mental limits as they fly around just inches from the barriers. But imagine if Monaco was twice as long, even faster, even tighter, and was a winner-takes-all one-off event for all the young up-and-coming talent in the motorsport world, where winning can bring greatness and one small mistake can spell disaster. Well, wonder no more, because this is Macau. It's very real, and today I'm going to be going over what makes it one of the world's most dangerous races, how it works, who's racing, as well as why you need to watch it.
Okay, let's go.
The Macau Grand Prix, aka the Formula 3 World Cup, is a yearly non-championship round of the FIA Formula 3 series. It's one of just 2 national Grand Prix events that aren't a part of the F1 calendar, and it's known as the place to spot the next rising stars in single-seaters, as it sees the world's best up-and-coming talent all come together for one weekend to try and make a name for themselves on the big stage. With a mix of the challenging nature of the track, the history behind the event, and the tough competition, basically making it that if you win at Macau, it's sort of a big deal. With the list of previous winners including the likes of Schumacher, Coulthard, Takuma Sato, Lucas Di Grassi, Dan Ticktum, Riccardo Patrese, and even Ayrton Senna. And aside from them lot, countless other current and ex-F1 drivers have all come to this race to try and prove themselves at what many call the Asian Monaco. The race itself takes place in, you guessed it, Macau, a special administrative region of China, and the world's most densely populated region. To be fair, it's also much more of an Asian Las Vegas than an Asian Monaco, with it being home to 8 of the 10 biggest casinos in the world, and also making 5 times more annually from gambling than its freedom-loving counterpart. The high-risk, high-reward nature of the gambling city is very much replicated in the racetrack, with a 6.1km gear street circuit being a complex mix of fast straights and tight corners, making it one of the most challenging and dangerous tracks in the world. With the track layout being almost identical to when it was first introduced in the 1950s, it has many famous and feared corners throughout, including the always eventful Lisboa corner, the high-speed Solitude S's, and the MACAU hairpin, which might just be one of the tightest corners in all of motorsports, with it narrowing down to just 7 meters wide on the exit. For reference, lads, that's about the same width as your mum. I'm sorry. As you can imagine, a track like this has seen all sorts of chaos over the years, including big boy pile-ups and scary high-speed crashes like we saw from Sofia Flores in 2018. With 17 people having lost their lives at the hands of this track, it's safe to say it's definitely not for the faint of heart, and it's clear to see why it's got its reputation as such a dangerous circuit. In fact, it's highly unlikely we'd ever see a track like this get introduced these days, but just like Monaco, it's been around so long that they can't get rid of it. Speaking of which though, how the hell did this all start? Well, that story begins back in 1954, a whole 27 years before Fernando Alonso was born, meaning there must have still been dinosaurs hanging around at that point. The event initially began as a treasure hunt around the city streets. However, shortly after the first running, they realised that this would make a banging track for a race car. And so that's what they did, with the event then slowly growing from an amateur race for sports cars to the pro open-wheel Formula 3 event we see today, with the race having run multiple different categories along the way. As I mentioned though, they settled on Formula 3 cars all the way back in 1983, and that decision has stuck to this very day, with the only outliers being the last 3 seasons where they ran the Chinese Formula 4 cars instead, thanks to a little flu that was going around. Covoid? I don't know, I'd never heard of it. But this year, Formula 3 returns, as well as GTs, touring cars, motorbikes, and Chinese F4 once again. However, this time they're racing the week before the main Grand Prix. So, what does the race format look like? Well, it's held over 4 days, with the first 2 consisting of a practice and qualifying session each, with drivers having the entire 40-minute session to set the best time they can, with their fastest time from either session then being used to set the grid for the sprint race on Saturday. This race is 10 laps or 60 minutes long, whichever comes first, and the result of it then sets the grid for the main event on Sunday. Now this is the one that matters. The drivers then battle it out for 15 laps or 60 minutes. Until then, the winner is crowned the champion of Macau. And with it being a non-championship event, there's no points or anything like that, so literally winning is everything. With the victor also receiving 5 super license points and second and third getting 0. It adds to that even more, since we've seen in the past how crucial these super license points can be when it comes to young drivers getting into F1 or not. Those 5 points could really mean a lot, lads. This year marks the 70th annual running of the event, and as of recording, 29 drivers are entered into the Formula 3 race, including 11 of the current FIA Formula 3 drivers, 4 of the current Formula 2 drivers, including Richard Verschoor, who won the event in 2019, and a ton of other mega talented young drivers from around the globe, such as McLaren's 16-year-old prodigy Ugo Agachuku, 2 sons of ex-F1 drivers in the form of Charlie Hertz and Sebastian Montoya, current IndyCar driver Marcus Armstrong, and even Formula E's least likeable driver driver, Dan Ticktum, who's actually won this race twice, and if he wins it this year, he'll be the first person to ever do so 3 times. Honestly, lads, you have to wonder, where would this kid be if he wasn't such a all the time? Because surely he would have had a shot in F1 by now.
Don't talk to me, anyone. No one talk to me. I don't want to hear it. Leave me alone. Roberto, if you're on the intercom, tell my taxi to be ready in 15 minutes. I'm getting out of here.
Anyway, in short, lads, the MACAU GP is an event where the stars of tomorrow come to shine, sending it around one of the world's most dangerous and challenging circuits, inches from each other and from the barriers, showing off their precision and talent, all with the same goal: to win. Literally nothing else matters. There's almost always a safety car or red flag at some point as well, so if it's the drama and chaos you're into, it has that covered as well. It's high stakes, high intensity, and high fives and then some for the winner. And with a track like this, you have to remember, it's never actually over until it's over, as we all saw at the 2017 running of the event, where this happened on the final corner.
And there's nothing between them. They're side by side coming to the last corner. Habsburg's got it! And Camera hits the wall. So too does Habsburg. And Daniel Ticktum wins the MACAU Grand Prix.
You can't park this, huh?
The 70th annual MACAU Grand Prix is taking place from the 17th of November to the 19th. So be sure to give it a watch, lads. And if you're watching this after the fact, or maybe 6 months, 8 months, 12 months down the line, go and watch the race highlights and then brace yourself for next year's running, lads, because you have to watch it. What do you lot think, lads? Let me know your thoughts on MACAU in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and why not watch another one, like the one that's on your screen now, where I looked into the plan to try and get F1 to race on a certain small island. Click it, lads. It's a very good video. Actually, go to the island. So yeah, click it. Click it. Click it!